Hey folks, Pat here from DNS. This Madison area fishing report is current as of August 12th. Before we get started, just wanted to point folks towards a cool group called Accessibility Wisconsin. This is a group, a nonprofit group that raises money to purchase these outdoor wheelchairs to help people with mobility issues get into the outdoors. They do great work, and you can log on to their site here if you know somebody with mobility issues that you'd like to get into the outdoors. You can log on to their site here and reserve chair. They don't charge any money to rent the chair, but they do require a deposit to reserve one, and that gets you a chair in a enclosed trailer and some instruction on how to use the chair. But they're doing great work helping folks that may not otherwise be able to get into the outdoors. They do have a map here with locations around the state. You can see here they have quite a few locations around the state, quite a few here in the Madison area. But their goal is to get a chair in each county of the 72 counties in the state. So they got a ways to go there. So if you'd like to support that effort, you can log onto their site here, and they have a donate section. So if you have the means to help out this group, they are doing great work and helping people get into the outdoors, not just for fishing, but just if you wanted to go on trails or even hunting. They have attachments in that for to help people for hunting. So give them a look and support them if you can. On to the report, or I guess just a little bit of shop news. We are out of leeches. Leeches are a seasonal deal. Started late this season because of the ice on the lakes, and then ended early a little bit here. Usually we're good through mid-August, but a little early for the season to be ending, but so it goes. Just wanted to let everybody know that we are out of leeches. We've had some beautiful weather this week. Had some rain come through that raised creek and river levels, but otherwise we've had low humidity, temps in the low 80s, so it's been absolutely gorgeous around town. Looks like a gorgeous weekend, and then all next week I'm not sure if I saw a temp over 80 degrees, so should be a lot of great opportunities, pleasant weather to be outside enjoying some fishing. The Mendota Buoy this morning, we're at 77 degrees. Generally around the chain, fishing has been good. Perch are being found in good numbers on weed lines and just off the weeds in Mendota, with gills occasionally mixed in with those fish. Lots of gills suspended over deep water on Monona, but also being found in the weedy areas, shallower weedy areas. Largemouth bass in weedy areas around the chain. Smallmouth bass generally near in rocks and near breaks. Walleye on mid-lake humps. Lots of pike around the chain. The cooler weather has had the muskie bite picking up around town, so and a lot of fish being caught in shallow water from what I hear. Also, lots of sheep's head still around. Some big ones up to 22 inches, I think I heard, which is a giant sheep's head. Must have been a great fight. But yeah, if you're into sheep's head, those are snapping around town. Up here on Cherokee, still is a weedy mess up there, but folks are launching here at the school road launch with canoes and kayaks, and are able to get up in there and access those fish, and they're getting largemouth and some good pike still up in that area. The 113 bridge continues to be good for catfish, although that action seems to have slowed a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Lake Mendota, the big news for Lake Mendota is the perch bite. Everybody's trying to get on the perch. Generally, they're finding them on the weed lines or even in the weeds. I've heard a couple reports, but generally on the weed lines. And then I've heard folks finding them out from the weeds in the flats in 20 to 25 feet of water. Generally, I've been hearing about more reports from the west end of the lake, from Picnic Point all the way over on the west end, but that doesn't mean that there aren't fish all around the lake on the weed lines. In other spots, I've been hearing about some fish out from Tenney and in the Maple Bluff area and the University areas, Picnic Point. So a lot of fish around, really good numbers. You got to sort through some of these fish, some of the smaller fish, to find bigger ones, but that bodes well for the future. And speaking of the future, a lot of gills on the lake right now. So a lot of smaller fish, but also the occasional Mendota jumbo are being caught, and that's also real exciting news for the future of panfish fishing on Lake Mendota. Tenney Park continues to be a great mixed bag. Some sheep's head coming out of here, some gar, bass, walleye, pretty typical in the near the break wall, finding bass in the river here, a good mixed bag right at the spillway. And the Tenney Park Lagoon continues to produce some good largemouth bass and lots of tiny bluegills if you got kids. Like I said, the river's been producing bass and some smallmouth out here from where the Yahara dumps in. Good bluegill and perch action here on the north end near Old Brick, mostly on the weed lines or in the weeds. There are gills suspended out over the main lake, a lot of gills actually. So people drifting out even over the 70 feet of water down in here are getting gills 15 to 20 feet down, and that's pretty much the depth they're found at throughout the lake. Over to the terrace on the wall, they've been finding, catching some good panfish over there. I hear reports of some nice crappies and bluegills coming out of there. Good reports of crappies and bluegills coming out of the triangles and Monona Bay in the Brittingham Park area. Lake Winger's been a little quiet. I have heard a couple reports of some smaller muskies. Of course, there's tons of tiny bluegills in here if you got kids. Keep kids busy over there for quite a while. Otherwise, speaking of muskies, Lake Monona's been producing some good muskies this last week. This cooler weather must have the muskies going a little bit better. A lot of reports of fish out of the south end of the lake, although I did hear one report of a 52-inch muskie came out of the north end here. So the muskies are snapping, and that's, I'm sure, got a lot of the muskie anglers relieved because that was pretty quiet for a while there. Upper Mud, haven't heard a ton coming out of here. The dredge hole up here is most likely a safe bet for some good panfish. And also largemouth bass in these large weed flats, shallow weed flats through here, and pike in there too would probably be a pretty safe bet. The trellis here has always produced a great mixed bag, and I'm sure that's no different. Got some nice shore access there and some piers for shore anglers. Largemouth bass in the lake farm area. A lot of bluegills and perch being caught in the weeds and on the weed line around the lake here on the north end. And down on the south end, been hearing about some good panfish action. And muskies also have been really good on Lake Wabisa. A lot of fish being caught more on the southern half of the lake down here from what I hear. Walleyes out from Babcock. Trolling, crawler harnesses has been effective out there. Jigging for walleyes around Hog Island has also been effective. And largemouth bass in the Babcock County Park area. Haven't heard a ton of action coming out of Kegonsa, but I'm sure fish in the 15 to 20 foot depth find them on weeds, in weeds. But in that 15 to 20 foot depth seems to be the pretty common depth around the chain. But don't be scared to look, like I said, in the weeds too for fish. I have heard, I guess, a couple reports of some walleye out from the state park. Other than that, I guess that's it for around the chain specifically. Like Kashkanong, been hearing about some good walleyes coming out of where the Rock River dumps in up here. A lot of smaller fish in there, but also a nice mixed bag mixed in there. I've been hearing about some good cats coming out of the Fort Atkinson area and Jefferson Dam areas, so that's worth a look. Otherwise, around the area, let's see, we got, Beaver Dam Lake up here is absolutely full of catfish right now. And so if you're into catfish and want some good eater size, a lot of those fish are in the 15 to 20 inch range. And the walleye anglers are begging people to get up there and try to thin out this catfish population because they're apparently taking over up there. So if you like catfish, Beaver Dam's a great option. Also been hearing about, let's see, where is Crystal Lake? I've been hearing about some really great yellow bass coming out of Crystal Lake. Big numbers of yellow bass up there. So if you like yellow bass, get up there and check that out. Otherwise, over to the river, Prairie du Sac Dam has been producing a great mixed bag. Just had a guy in the shop here talking about a huge catfish he lost up there. Had folks in the shop talking about some good walleye coming out from below the dam. Otherwise, downriver, Sauk City, you can find good smallmouth on the backside of sandbars and on corners. Look for wood, also walleye, and basically anything that swims in the river can be found in those deeper areas of the river. Up on Lake Wisconsin, haven't heard a ton coming out of here, but I do hear about trolling being effective, flicker shads, and crawler harnesses for walleyes. Not much action that I've heard from the bays and the grade and that up here. So, but I'm sure there's still some panfish being caught up there. Good smallmouth action coming out of the portage to the Dells section of the river. And then I've heard a couple reports of some walleyes still being caught up at the Wisconsin Dells Dam. Upriver here at Castle Rock, heard about, of course, a nice mixed bag coming out of both the Castle Rock and Petenwell dams. One nice report I heard about a really nice flathead catfish come out of, I think it was below Castle Rock. Otherwise, on the main lakes here, walleyes have been being caught on deep humps early in the mornings and late at night, and then trolling midday has been effective for a nice mixed bag of fish. Over to the Mississippi, I've been hearing about some good bluegills being caught on rocks, shallow rocks, crappies in deeper wood right on the main river. Also hearing about walleyes being caught in good numbers and current seams, some sturgeon still snapping up there pretty good, and some good white bass reports. So that's always interesting fishery if you want to take a little drive. Otherwise, over here to Milwaukee, the salmon have started to move in shallow, and I've been hearing about folks in the harbors getting fish already. So those fish are going to start stacking up there through the month of August and then into September where they're kind of staging before they run up the rivers. So any of your harbors along, down in Racine and Milwaukee, all the way up the coast, should be starting to hold fish now, and those fish are only going to get more accessible from shore as the fall goes on here before they run up in October or so. Also been hearing about good smallmouth fishing out of the Milwaukee River. Otherwise, I don't really know too much going on around the area. Of course, I guess trout fishing. The rain we had this week had the streams up, so that put a damper on fishing locally, but those waters have come down now, and this weekend looks absolutely gorgeous. All next week looks perfect. Shouldn't have to worry anything about stream temps being too high for fish. So get out there and give it a shot. The parsnip is also down now. It's no longer yellow and dangerous to be around, so that will help with access to trout. But give hoppers a chance. They're been picking up. That hopper bite's been picking up. Also, beetles, crickets, and ants. Any of your terrestrials have been real effective this time of year. So give that a shot. And I guess that's it for the report. Feel free to call the shop anytime if you want maybe a little more detail on anything we discussed here. Otherwise, feel free to post your comments and pictures below. We'd love to see and hear how people are doing. And I guess otherwise, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck out there, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.